Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Anna. I was making these Foamiran roses and I thought I actually can record a tutorial for you to share how I'm making those. So let's start. The process is very simple and I hope you will be able to grab your dies, Foamiran, some inks and make flowers with me. I'm using Lady E Design dies. I'm using flower 004 and I'm using third size of the petals and I need 2 layers. Then I also need flower 001 and I need a second size of the largest, and as well I need 2 layers to create my rose. So I've cut out my Foamiran and I have those 4 layers ready to make a rose. So I'm just gonna move my roses a little bit aside to make more room for me to create, so you will be able to see the process what I'm doing. So I have these Wendy Vecchi archival inks from Rangers, and I will create this yellow greenish rose, and I also will mix Distress ink by Tim Holtz to add a little bit more intense color to my rose. So I'm starting with applying ink with a blending tool this time, and as you can see I'm not taking a lot of ink on my blending tool. I'm just gently dabbing and smooshing like so. So I'm just repeating this process on all of my layers, and I'm not covering all petals. I'm just concentrating on 1.5, roughly 2 petals on my layers, and I'm doing the inking on both sides. On these 5 petal layers I'm inking again just only 2 petals. And as you can see, I'm not taking lots of ink on my blending tool. I'm only just gently touching the ink and smooshing and blending on my Foamiran. Some of you mentioned to me that they've got a problem with over inking, that the inking is too heavy, it's too intense, and that's something where you're not happy. So if you just gently touch your ink, then you will be able to just add small and enough amount of ink for your desired project. So that's my advice. Now as you can see, I'm gently dabbing into my Distress ink and smooshing on my layers. So I'm gently dabbing my blending tool into the ink. Now I'm going back to my archival set and I will add this green shade onto my petals. And again, as you can see, I'm gently touching my ink. So I'm repeating this process on both sides, top and the bottom. And if you feel like you don't want to do both top and bottom layers, you can only do just top one, is absolutely fine. But because I want those roses to be more intense and I want the color smoothly moving from layer to another layer, that's why I've decided I will do both top and bottom layers, adding ink on them. So my petals, my layers are ready now. Now I will use iron to warm my Foamiran, and my iron is on between 2 and 3 dots of the desired hotness, and the steam is off. And I'm just gently rolling my petals in my fingers. Obviously the distress ink is not permanent ink, so it will stain your fingers, and it will obviously fade down a little bit. It's not going to be as intense as when we've added the ink onto our Foamiran. So I'm repeating this process on all of my layers, just holding my each layer on my iron for a couple of seconds until it starts crinkling up, until it starts lifting up, and then I will just crinkle them in my fingers like so. Just roll them in between the fingers. So it's very simple. And once my layers are ready, I will move on to shaping my petals. So now I'm gently stretching my petals. So I'm unfolding my layers and gently stretching in my fingers like so. And now I'm using embossing tool. I'm using just a medium size of a ball and gently pressing to each of my petal, just to give them a bit of a shape, just to make them a little bit more dimensional, so they're not as flat. And now I'm just rolling the edges of my petals like so, to create extra dimension and extra interest to my petals. So they're not going to be flat, they will have that nice shape on them. And I will repeat the process on all of my layers in the same way. So this is something what you will just carry on all of the layers. For the layer which will go into the middle of the center of my rose, I'm curling only just 2 petals, because the other one will be actually needed to cover the cone what I will create using the foil, aluminium foil, kitchen foil, whatever you've got on hand. You will see the process in a minute, what I mean by that. this piece of aluminium kitchen foil, and it's roughly 10 by 10 centimeters, which I will fold into cone shape. And once I'm happy with the desired length and the shape of the cone, it will need to have the length of this 4 layers petal, because it will be in the center, and once I will glue petals together to cover this foil, it have to cover whole cone. So I will move on to that bit in just a second, so you will see what I mean by that. So this is my cone, so my center of the rose, let's call it, is ready. I have my hot glue gun ready, so now I will start building the layers to create my rose. So I'm starting with the layer when I've got these only 2 petals curled at the edges. So I'm just applying a bit of a hot glue in the center, and I glue my cone there. So just hold for a bit, and then we'll move on to glue the petals. So I'm adding decent amount of a glue all over on my cone, and I'm pressing the petal so it will go equally, and I will cover the aluminium cone what I've created. So this is what you should have. And when I'm adhering the second petal, I'm adding a little bit less of a glue and just trying to curl at the top so it will nicely cover the whole foil, so it will not be visible, like so. Now with adhering the other 2 petals, I'm just adding gentle amount of a glue just at the bottom, because once you start pulling the petals up, the glue will spread upwards as well, so you just need a little bit of a glue for that. So you will just repeat the process in the same way, just adding a little bit of a glue on at the bottom to adhere your petals on further layers of your rose. So my center is ready. That's how it look. It's like opening rose. So now I'm moving on to the second layer when I've got these 4 petals. And firstly, before I will glue my layers, I'm just trying and measuring where my shades of the petals will go nicely, considering I would like to keep the color on only one side. And as you see, I've tried my layers before I've added the glue, just to make sure my petals not overlapping, and I'm just gently pressing them upwards and just holding for a minute until the glue it cools down. So you're repeating the same process on all layers, and I will meet you at the end when the rose is ready. So this is my rose. You can finish at that, or you can take a little bit further and add a little bit of glitter just to add a little bit of a sparkle to your flowers, to your roses. And for that I have this very fine glitter from the works, and I will add my glue with gel medium. I'm using gel medium from Crafter Workshop, and I'm just adding a bit of this gel medium with a very fine brush, just touching gently on the edges of my petals, like so. Now sprinkle glitter all over, like so, and then dab off the excess and leave it aside to dry, and then your rose is ready. You can use on any desired project what you will be working on. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you found it inspirational. I hope you will create roses in the same way as I did, and I hope you will be able to tag me in your project. And make sure you will check Lady E design dies, because she's got loads of different designs available on her eBay shop, so I invite you to check them out. Thank you very much for stopping by. Thank you very much for watching my videos, and till the next time, bye for now.